Welcome to the Lindsay and Tony podcast, where we talk about spirituality, business, and life experiences.
In this podcast, we're bringing our private conversations to you.
We believe that it's through discussion, action, and reflection that true change occurs.
Hi everybody, welcome to episode 88, How to Make the Most of Your Travel Time Around the Holidays. In this episode, we give you tips on how to maximize that precious time in the car, at the airport, or in the airplane. That way you show up fresh and you're present for all of your family members and friends around the holidays. I hope everybody enjoys the show.
Hi guys, welcome back. We're so excited that you're here. Today's episode is all about how to make the most of your travel time around the holidays. And this is a really important episode because we've actually been traveling, I feel like, around the world. No, not around the world, but we've definitely done a lot of traveling.
Parts of the world,
especially during the holidays. We always leave and go either to Boston or St. Louis, and we're stopping in between. We do a lot of road trips too. So, should I read my research fact about the time?
Let's go ahead, start it off. You get in there first.
So, just in the U.S. alone, during Thanksgiving time in 2018, there was 54 million Americans traveling. So imagine what it's like at a different holiday in different parts of the world. But just with Americans, 54 million people are traveling. So we know there's a lot of people traveling around that time. So we want to make sure that we make the most of it when you are traveling this holiday season.
Right, and it's because we spend so much time, and it's not, like you said, it's not only here in the United States, but all around the world, around holidays. Families tend to get together, but when all that happens, when you're traveling and you're around family, then what starts to occur is stress. And in fact, the American Psychological Association, they did a study on this. And there was, let's see how many people in this study here. There were 786 individuals in this study. And what they did was they studied stress during the holidays compared to other times of the year. And they found that 44% of women and 31% of men in this study, they were way more stressed around the holidays, which obviously that's the case. We can see it on people's faces. We can feel it in our bodies. We could actually feel it coming from other people sometimes. So I brought that up because this show's even more important because of that.
Yeah,
so
this is.
When you're spending your travel time and becoming aware that most people are stressed out, and even you're going to be, odds are you're going to be a little bit more stressed around this time. It's so important to maximize that valuable time that you have either in the car or at the airport, on an airplane. That way when you show up, you're refreshed and you're way less stressed, because obviously when we're less stressed, we can make the most, we can be present in the moment, and we can make the most of the moment.
Oh yeah. By the end of some trips, I'm like, oh my gosh, that wasn't a vacation. So it is important, and we definitely have firsthand experience with this.
We definitely do.
So where do we start? I know on road trips, audiobooks and music really have helped for us.
Oh, absolutely. Audiobooks, listening to audiobooks in the car, specifically to relieve stress, and then also music. And me personally, I like to sing. I like to rap, which sometimes stresses out Lindsay even more. And so it's actually, I'm de-stressing, but then it's stressing out Lindsay even more. So I have to kind of like take it back a second when I do that.
I think it's good to sing, but after, 9 hours
5 hours
car,
of it. Yeah, no, I understand.
Then it kind of comes to a stop, and then you want silence in the car.
So make sure that whatever you're doing, it's not causing way more stress for the people around you. If it is, just go in your own little corner. I couldn't because I was in the car a lot of these times, but I like to sing, and I think that's very big to move the energy, because I'm singing and I'm rapping and I'm doing this because I have all of this energy in me. And if I'm sitting in a car, it's gonna start to compile. So whenever I start to release it through talking or singing or rapping, it's a way to move the energy. And once again, it's a way to refresh myself. That way I'm more fresh when I come to the spot where I'm going. And hopefully
true.
Lindsay is too.
No, I feel like we actually have really good conversations in the car, because when you're in the car, you're on autopilot and ideas come to you, which is great too. But yeah, audiobooks are great because you could be getting educated just sitting driving. Also, another thing that I think is important, and I feel like Tony's really good at this, is our checklists. So making sure that you're writing the things down that you have to do before you go out the door. And probably not saving that to last minute. And I'm raising my hand because I pack normally the night before.
She does.
So I don't know.
Normally, every single time.
Yeah, every time. I don't know if there's ever a time that I've packed. Maybe it was the day before that I left, but I usually pack at the last second.
Yeah, but definitely checklists are huge. Every time we have a big trip that we're going to, whether it's around the holidays or not, I'll make a checklist that says what I want to complete or what to do before St. Louis trip, what to do before Boston trip, what to do before wherever we're going. And I'll just write down, and all of a sudden the list just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And then I realize, wow, if I didn't create this list, all of these things in this list would be going in my head over and over and over, which adds to even more stress. And obviously, you get the point, you don't want to compound the stress around the holiday times.
That's true.
So get it out on paper, write out all of your ideas, or all of the things you need to do in your business, career, at the house, whatever you need to do, get it out and put it on paper.
Yeah, that's a really powerful one. This is another thing too. I think that we've actually gotten a little bit better over the years, and that's packing lightly. Whenever I was going to college to go to UT, I would go home on Christmas break and then come back, or go home during the summer and come back. So I actually got really good at trying to pack lightly, and I think I've gotten a little bit better over the years too, leaving and going home. But I think packing lightly makes a big difference, because if worse came to worse, if you had to go home and, I don't know, buy something like shampoo at the store, if you're going to be there for months, you could just do it there instead of having to lug it in your bag. There's so many different ways to pack lightly, but you don't even use half the stuff that you pack anyways. So you might as well pack lightly, get very clear on what you're bringing, and be very specific with what's going with you.
And that's the thing, and take the edge off. Like Lindsay said, if you forget something, you could buy it at wherever you're going. So I think that causes a lot of anxiety. I know it does within me sometimes, where if I'm leaving for a trip, I'm like, do I have everything? And I check a million times. And just to take the anxiety off it, Lindsay taught me this, actually. You taught me this. It's okay if we forget something or we don't bring something, then we'll buy it at the new city we go to.
Yeah.
Because they have stores too.
Exactly. As long as we don't forget Romeo at the house, then.
Yeah, forget Romeo, or to dress before we go to the airport. I mean, as long as you have the basics, what you need, you could figure it out once you go to the new city. So just take the edge off a little bit when you're packing. You don't have to pack everything in your house.
Yeah.
It's actually a lot less freeing to pack less. You feel
more freeing.
It's more freeing to pack less.
I know.
Yeah.
That's true.
More freeing. That's what I meant.
I know what you mean. Okay. I think that one's important. I don't know if you want to
Which
talk
one is
about
that?
Proper hydration.
Oh yeah, definitely proper hydration, especially because when you're flying in the airplanes, you're already getting a little bit more dehydrated from the altitudes and all that, so you want to hydrate anyways. When you're driving in the car, I mean, especially if you're like Lindsay and I, we're driving on different altitudes. We're coming from Florida and going north, going into the mountains. I mean, it kind of messes with you, and I start to feel like I'm drying out a lot, like if I don't hydrate. And a lot of times on road trips, you'll chug down the coffee, you'll drink Red Bull. I know I've done it.
I don't like Red Bull.
I do it. I go to Red Bull if I'm extra tired. I'm like, I need this, or else, I feel like we need this. But it's really huge to stay hydrated, because it's so easy to get dehydrated around these times when you're eating all this sugar, you're traveling, you're doing all these things. And the whole point of it's not just to be healthy, it's so you show up fresh. When your body is fresh, when your mind is fresh, you're less stressed. That's the whole point of this episode. I think everything we do is to stay centered and calm as much as possible. That way you can be present, like we talked about in our last podcast episode. That way you can be present with the people that's actually in front of you. And I want to, or you go.
No, and also with that, when you are staying hydrated, that's actually helping even more so during the holidays, because during the holidays, normally there's a lot of food and family, at least in my family, the Italian family that we have. It's filled with sugar and all different foods, so it's actually good to make sure you're definitely hydrated during that time too, so you're not crashing.
And another thing I want to add to this is take advantage of this time traveling to form deep, meaningful connections with whoever you're with. It's easy to just put on the headphones and do that the whole time, which we suggested to do that, but not necessarily the whole time. Like Lindsay said, we talk and we have deep connections whenever we're in the car together. So whoever you're with in the car, develop that deep connection with them. Maybe talk about things you don't really normally talk about, and look for ways to bond, because I wanted to add this study to it because Dr. Zita, who's a professor at Penn State University and a professor in human development and family studies, and Dr. Zita did a study where he had a questionnaire of 60 possible ways that humans can feel love and support. And out of all of the ways, out of the 700, how many people were in the study? 495 men and women. The number one way that people feel loved, supported, and connected is through human interaction and deep connection. So during your travel time, it's so important to really focus on who's in front of you and start to build that deep connection before you get to your family's house, before you get to the place that you're going. That way you're bringing that energy of deep connection to the next place that you go. And like a lot of you know on this episode, the law of vibration will start to draw to you more deep connection. So you're actually building this as you're going to your next spot.
I love that. That's so true. And I feel like that's really important. That's really what the holidays are supposed to be about too. We just kind of lose focus in the chaos of everything. So I think that's so powerful.
Right, trying to get people presents and all of the other things that we're thinking about during the holidays. It kind of takes us out of the present moment.
Yeah, and that actually goes back to the episode that we did the other day. Okay, so we talked about hydration too. Nutrition's really important. I think that nutrition's so important when your body's craving something, or you know that you need warm soup, or you need something else that's going to really nourish your body. Pay attention to that, especially during this time, because stress does make you crave different things. So there's good foods and then there's not so great foods, but at least have something that feels energizing to you too. Mix it up in that holiday time.
It is definitely splurge and eat everything that you want to eat. Don't hold back. But then also, like we do, we'll still have our smoothies in the morning a lot of the times, even if it's Thanksgiving Day or the week of Thanksgiving or the week of Christmas. It's easy, even 2 weeks before, it's easy to slip into eating desserts all the time, which is okay, but maybe for breakfast, you know that you're going to have your green smoothie.
Yes,
and it kind of balances out things to that way you could still have your dessert and you're still getting your nutrients.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you want to add anything? Because I feel like we're covering a lot. I know there's more, but
there's definitely a lot more.
One of the things that I wrote here too was making sure that sometimes you forget to eat, like if you're rushing around going to people's houses. So even if you have to set a timer to remind you, like, oh, I got to eat lunch today, and you're aware of that, so that you're not feeling like you're crashing and you're feeling like you're easily agitated because you didn't get to eat lunch, before you got to the next place. So I think that's something really important. Because nobody wants a hangry person around. I know Tony and I, if one of us is hangry, that's the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Or that moment at least. Like,
definitely.
You need food.
And another thing to add to it is the people at the airport, the people working at the gas stations, the people working wherever you are around the holidays, be present with them. I know there's been a lot of times where when I was stressed out around these times, I would go and I wouldn't be present with the cashier, with whoever I was with. Understand that these are human beings, and especially if it's on the holiday, they're working the holidays. They're probably feeling lonely. They're probably feeling everything you are, everything most of us are feeling around this time on different levels. And whether you're at the airport or wherever you're at, just be present with the people that are making it possible for you to even travel, for you to go to the gas station and pump gas in your car and go in and get your snacks and your coffee and all of that to make it to the next spot. So be present for them and maybe look to give them a compliment or something, or something to change their day around. It sounds so simple and easy to do, but it's so powerful at the same time once you
is.
do it.
Yeah.
Not only for them, but for you as well.
That's true. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this is like really important because I feel like when we're traveling, it's easy to go about and do what everyone else wants to do because we're going to visit people. But it's important to make sure you're sprinkling in your own little events that you want to do too. So you could easily travel to see family, but you could also have some alone time and do what you want to do. Or just say, hey, do you want to join us? We're going here, you know? Because when you're going into someone else's space, it's really easy to kind of go along with the flow of it. But there's times that it could actually build up resentment in time where you're thinking, I didn't get to do what I wanted to, but you didn't speak up. So it's important to make sure you're aware of when you go to that next place, think, what is something on my list that I want to do when I go to that city? And really pay attention to that and make sure you do it.
That's huge because all these little things that we talked about, they seem simple by themselves. Like if you don't speak up, you're at somebody's house and you're not, you're at your family's house, like we want to go here, but you really just feel like you need to rest, but you're not saying anything. Yeah, that might be okay doing that. But then if you're doing that and then you're not eating healthy, you're not getting enough sleep, you're not doing a lot of the things that we talked about in this episode, that just compounds. And like a lot of you have seen in your family, there might be family blow-ups, there might be arguments, there's a lot of stress and all of that around the holidays. And it's not just with your family or our family, it's like this is a commonality that all of us have. So finding out these little blind spots and understanding the value of all of them and really being present and taking care of yourself along the way, it adds to you being fresh with everybody that you're in front of. And that's what we really want. Going back to Dr. Zita's study, we want to be fresh so we can be present and have that deep connection with everybody we're with.
Yeah. And that's overall what what the holidays are all about, really.
Right.
So we hope that you guys enjoyed this episode, and we hope that you enjoy your holidays. Anything that you're doing, enjoy it and be in the moment. And we will see you on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you liked it, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
If you can think of anyone else that would love this episode, share it with them right now on social media or email. And remember, getting results is a process of learning, applying, and reflecting. Stay consistent and continue to grow every day.